Shalom, my name is Adam and I welcome you to the parable of the Vineyard. Every day, YAHUSHA is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to His righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of His law. Join us as we seek to be refined by His Word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in His way, truth, and life. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard. This is our Torah portion, line-by-line study. This is week 14 already. We're going to be covering Exodus 6:2 through 9:35. We're going to be getting into the plagues of Egypt, and as we'll find out, some of you may already know, but so many similarities in the Exodus story, the plagues, Egypt, to what's happening in what's going to be happening in the future with Revelation, the end of the world, the revealing of Messiah. There's a lot of parallels here, and this is an extremely important Torah portion. They're all important, but really especially for those who are interested in end times, revelations, eschatology. Just being prepared, being a watchman, right, and watching for the coming of Messiah. This is a really interesting Torah portion. So if you're new, what we're doing is each week we just read through a portion of the Torah, and we want to figure out how we can apply that to our lives. We believe here that this is the best way to end times prep, is to be followers of Messiah, to walk like Him, to act like Him, to talk like Him, to do the works that He did, which He said, we do even greater. So where are His people at in these last days? So let's get started with prayer and then shofar blowing. Yeah. Heavenly Father, Yahweh, we just come before You in YAHUSHA's name. Abba, we just thank You for Your word. We thank You for the refreshing, and we thank You for the understanding. We just ask that You'd help us to put it into practice, to bear fruit that You want from us, and to love You like You said You wanted to be loved. And we thank You, Father. We just ask Your Spirit be with us and guide us. It's in Your Son, Yahushua's name we pray. Amen. Get your shofars ready. All right. Let's get right to it. We're at Exodus chapter 6. And yeah. We'll have the word audio, read it, and then here we go. And then we'll talk about it. Shemot, Exodus, chapter 6. Then Yahweh said unto Moshe,
Now shall you see what I will do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land.
And Elohim spoke unto Moshe, and said unto him,
I am Yahuwah, and I appeared unto El Avraham, unto El Yitzhak, and unto El Yaakov, by El Shaddai, but by my name Yahuwah was I not known to them. And I have also established my covenant with them, to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers. And I have also heard the groanings of the children of Yasharel, whom the Mitzrayim keep in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. Wherefore say unto the children of Yasharel, I am Yahuwah, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Mitzrayim, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm, and with great judgments. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you Elohim, and ye shall know that I am Yahuwah Elohaikim, which brings you out from under the burdens of the Mitzrayim, and I will bring you into the land concerning the which I did swear to give it to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov, and I will give it to you for a heritage. I am Yahuwah.
And Moshe spoke so unto the children of Yasharel, but they hearkened not unto Moshe, for anguish of the Ruach, and for cruel bondage. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying,
Go in, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim, that he let the children of Yasharel go out of his land.
And Moshe spoke before Yahweh, saying, Behold,
The children of Yashrael have not hearkened unto me. How then shall Pharaoh hear me, who am of uncircumcised lips? And Yahweh spoke unto El Moshe and unto El Ahron, and gave them a charge unto the children of Yashrael and unto Pharaoh king of Mitzrayim, to bring the children of Yashrael out of the land of Mitzrayim. These be the heads of their fathers' houses, the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Yasharel, Chanok, and Palu, and Chetzron, and Carmi. These be the families of Reuben. And the sons of Shimon, Yemuel, and Yamin, and Ochad, and Yakin, and Sochar, and Shaul, the son of the Canaanite woman. These are the families of Shimon. And these are the names of the sons of Levi, according to their generations, Gershon, and Kohath, and Merari. And the years of the life of Levi were 137 years. The sons of Gershon, Livni, and Shimei, according to their families. And the sons of Kohath, Amram, and Yitzchar, and Hebron, and Uziel. And the years of the life of Kohath were 133 years. And the sons of Merari, Machli, and Mushi. These are the families of Levi, according to their generations. And Amram took Jochebed, his father's sister, to be his woman. And she bore him Ahron and Moshe. And the years of the life of Amram were 137 years. And the sons of Yitzchar, Korach, and Nepheg, and Zikri. And the sons of Uziel, Mishael, and Elishaphan, and Chitrai. And Ahron took him Elisheba, daughter of Aminadab, sister of Nachshon, to be his woman. And she bore him Nadab, and Abihu, and Eleazar, and Ithamar. And the sons of Korach, Asir, Elkanah, Avisaph. These are the families of the Korchai. And Eleazar, Ahron's son, took him one of the daughters of Putiel to be his woman, and she bore him Phinehas. These are the heads of the fathers of the Leviim, according to their families. These are that Ahron and Moshe, to whom Yahweh said, Bring out the children of Yashrael from the land of Mitzrayim, according to their families. These are they which spoke to Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim, to bring out the children of Yashrael from Mitzrayim. These are that Moshe and Aharon. And it came to pass on the day when Yahweh spoke unto Moshe in the land of Mitzrayim, that Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying,
I am Yahuwah. Speak you unto Pharaoh king of Mitzrayim all that I say unto you.
And Moshe said before Yahweh, Behold, I am of uncircumcised lips. How shall Pharaoh hearken unto me?
Oh man, can you imagine? Sometimes you have to really just stop and think about this. I mean, put it in a modern day context. So, of course, America is, like, in my opinion, end times Egypt. Egypt was the world financial power, the military strength. Jacob and his sons had to flee the famine to be nourished there. The heart of why this country was formed. I know there's debates of the founding fathers and whatnot. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people, the actual people that came over, the ones that were the indentured servitude, indentured servants, and built this country. They fled religious persecution because they didn't want to be under the power of the Roman Catholic Church, and they wanted to basically follow the Bible. And we know that they hadn't been revealed the fullness of. And we know whether we're at the fullness now, but just understanding the Torah, they didn't understand all that. But they were like, hey, we just know that it's not following the Roman Catholic Church, and we're fleeing this famine of hearing the word and going to Egypt and to build it up. And so that's what's happened over the last 400 years. Whether you believe the traditional diaspora or even the Black Hebrew Israelite understanding, which I don't agree that narrative is correct, but I'm not even against that movement, in that you have this huge group of people waking up to faith in Messiah and keeping the commandments. Hey, I'm not against that. Regardless, there's different perspectives of how this country is built. Either way, the end result is this country is like an end times Egypt. Even from both perspectives, it really works. And there's so much that relates to this. And so anyways, just putting the perspective of like America, end times Egypt, someone like Trump as like a pharaoh, and can you imagine being like sent to go talk to him today and be like, hey, Yah says, step up off my people, right? And let them go, or else. Woo, can you imagine that? And so Moses is like, oh, what, you want me to go talk to like the leader of the world right now? I mean, why would you listen to me? I can't even talk really well. Like, so he's just like, so put yourself in his shoes for a second. You can kind of just really just read right past that and not really think about what Moshe went through. But anyways, let's go back up to the beginning of the chapter. Let me not get ahead of myself. Let's break this down. The majority of the study is going to be actually 6 and 7. It's pretty spread out, but a lot to talk about in chapter 6. Before we get into like the revelation, end times, meaty stuff, there are some precepts, some basic precepts that I don't want to miss here. And it says here, and I appeared unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob by El Shaddai. In English, this is translated typically as God Almighty. But by my name Yahweh was I not known to them. Now, I know some people say, hey, if you just put a question mark here, it's still saying that, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob knew the name YHWH, but I think this is plainly saying, hey, he knew me as Elohim and as the Great One and the Mighty One and titles, but he did not know YHWH. That's been revealed now. In a similar way, we're going to talk about it here in a little bit later, that though we know Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Noah, some of these righteous men followed the laws of Yahweh, I don't think the fullness of the law had been fully explained yet, which when we talk a little bit later about Amram marrying Jochebed, his aunt, that's directly against Torah, and so maybe some of the laws like that had not been fully revealed yet. And in a similar way, was his name as YHWH had not been revealed yet. But I want to make mention while we're here that his name is so much more than a pronunciation. Psalm 22, 21 through 22, prophesying about Messiah, save me from the lion's mouth, for you have heard me from the horns of the unicorns. I will declare your name unto my brethren. In the midst of the congregation will I praise you. And so when we look at John 17, Messiah accomplishes that. John 17, verse 4, I have glorified you on the earth. I have finished the work which you gave me to do. And now, O Father, glorify you me with your own self, with the glory which I had with you before the world was. Messiah is a pre-existent with the Father. He declares it, and I believe it. I have manifested your name unto the men which you gave me out of the world. Yours they were, and you gave them to me, and they have kept thy word. So we know that not everything, all of Messiah's words, was all captured. Book of John says if there was, all the books in the world wouldn't fill them. But nowhere in the gospel accounts, nor in any of the disciples' teachings do we see like this, hey, all right, this is how the name of the Father is pronounced. If you don't get it right, there's going to be some severe consequences, because this whole faith is going to be reduced down to, if you can't pronounce the name right, you're not getting in. I mean, ridiculous. That doesn't exist. It's never been said. And to think that the faith could be reduced to like a secret password. And listen, I am in no way am I diminishing the goodness and the freedom and the love and the closeness that declaring his name brings, because that has brought me closer to Yah than calling him God or Daddy or Father. I love Abba and terms like that, but just knowing his name, we read it last week. This is my name. This is my mention for all generations. And so I find it a blessing to escape what Judaism and Christianity have both done, which is to eliminate his name. But we have to be reasonable with each other to recognize that nowhere did YAHUSHA sit down and talk about the pronunciation. So we know that his name is much more than the pronunciation, almost like it's like the name is like just the beginning. Kind of like how some of us realize that, hey, just keeping the Sabbath is just the beginning. There's so much more. Exodus 33, 18 through 19, and he said, I beseech you, show me your glory. This is Moses talking to YHWH. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of Yahweh before you, and I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy to whom I will show mercy. And so we can see here that the characteristics of YHWH are, in fact, his name. Psalm 9:10, and they that know your name will put their trust in you, for you, Yahweh, has not forsaken them that seek you. And so here we can see that literally seeking Yahweh through his ways, through his precepts, and that's how the scriptures define we trust him. There's nowhere any mention that the pronunciation of his name equals trusting in him, but a matter of fact, action and devotion to his ways. Proverbs 18:10, the name of Yahweh is a strong tower. The righteous runs to it and is safe. When we can read the entire Bible front to back and recognize that the proclaiming pronunciation is not how one is righteous, but of course keeping the commandments, which describes the character of Yahweh. He is setting the standard of what's good, what's bad, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable in his house. 1 John 2:6, he that says he abides in him, so he who says, like, I live in Christ or I live in Messiah, in him ought himself also so to walk, even as he walked. So we're supposed to be like Messiah. Psalm 51:7-13, this is part of the heart of your faith has made you whole, go and sin no more. Psalm 51:7-13, purge me with hyssop and I shall be clean, wash me and I shall be whiter than snow, make me to hear joy and gladness, that the bones which you have broken may rejoice. Hide your face from my sins and blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O Elohim, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from your presence, and take not your Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of your salvation, and uphold me with your free spirit. Then will I teach transgressors your ways, and sinners shall be converted unto you. And so this is the concept of showing his name. Let's see. Let's move on. I think I'm going off on a different point there. I'm learning of my long-windedness. Okay, so let's go to Exodus 6:4-8. This is, I just want to make mention. This is like one of the best love stories ever. It's like, he's like, I hear you, I miss you, I love you. I'm gonna come and get you, scoop you up, and I'll bring you into the land, and we'll be married forever. History is going to repeat itself. Matter of fact, I want to repeat, or I want to read 2 Esdras 15:10-19. Just in case you're new, 2 Esdras was included in the 1611 KJV under the Apocrypha section. Behold, my people is led like a flock to the slaughter. I will not allow them to live any longer in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them out with a mighty hand and with an uplifted arm, and will smite Egypt with plagues as before, and I will destroy all its land. Just to be straightforward with you, I believe this is talking about the land of America. Let Egypt mourn and its foundations for the plague of chastisement and punishment that Yahweh will bring upon it. Let the farmers that till the ground mourn, because their seed shall fail, and their trees shall be ruined by blight and hail and by a terrible tempest. Alas for the world and those who live in it, for sword and misery draw near them, and nation shall rise up to fight against nation with swords in their hands. For there shall be unrest among men, growing strong against one another. All this stuff is happening now. They shall in their might have no respect for their king or the chief of their leaders. What's different now? And I just want to make mention, I had already mentioned Trump, and I'm going to mention his name a few more times, and it's not to be disrespectful to someone that is in a position of authority, but to point out parallels of what happened then and what's going on now. But it is interesting that a lot of countries, they're not in a place where they have respect for their leaders. You have open revolts, all sorts of things going on. For a man will desire to go into a city and shall not be able. This reminds me of like lockdowns, which a lot of people are prophesying that's coming back. I haven't seen that, but I think the scriptures show that it will happen again. For because of their pride, the city shall be in confusion, houses shall be destroyed, and people shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbors, but shall make an assault upon their houses with a sword and plunder their goods because of hunger for bread and because of great tribulation. So this is pointing out, a place where it's like roving gangs, breaking down people's houses because they're hungry. But the point here, the greater point, is that there's going to be a second Exodus, a greater Exodus, an end times Exodus, a taking away, a snatching away. So I think Christianity calls it the rapture. I believe it's just him grabbing his people in a huge spectacle way that no one's going to talk about the first Exodus anymore, which... let me not take away from the scriptures. Jeremiah 16:14. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh, when it shall no longer be said, as Yahweh lives, who brought up the people of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but as Yahweh lives, who brought up the people of Israel out of the north country and out of all the countries where I had driven them, for I will bring them back to their own land, which I gave to their fathers. So this is basically saying, like, hey, that first Exodus is going to be so small in comparison to what's going to happen in the end days. So that obviously hasn't happened yet. Behold, I am sending for many fishers, says Yahweh, and they shall catch them. And afterwards I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and every hill out of the clefts of the rocks. And then Jeremiah 23:5-7 says the same thing. Behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh, when I will raise up for David a righteous branch. Ultimately, of course, this is pointing to Messiah as the fulfillment of this. And he shall reign as king and deal wisely, and shall execute justice and righteousness in the land. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel will dwell securely. And this is the name by which he will be called. Yahweh is our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh, which men shall no longer say, as Yahweh lives, who brought the people out of the land of Israel, or out of Egypt. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time reading that. But it goes on basically to say the same thing. So history is going to repeat itself, which is what Ecclesiastes 1:9 says. What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done, and there is nothing new under the sun. It basically, this whole Torah portion we're about to read is going to get a facelift and a refresh in the end days, and as we'll find out, a lot of that is already happening. 2 Esdras 1:33-37. Thus says El Shaddai, your house is desolate. I will drive you out as the wind drives straw, and your sons will have no children, because with you they have neglected my commandment and have done what is evil in my sight. And this is why we're not going to repeat the same sins as Mystery Babylon. I will give your houses to a people that will come, who without having heard me will believe. Those to whom I have shown no signs will do what I have commanded. They have seen no prophets, yet will recall their former state. I call to witness the gratitude of the people that is to come, whose children rejoice with gladness. Though they do not see me with bodily eyes, yet with the Spirit will believe the things I have said. And I think that's a big testimony to what this end time generation is doing. Just a reminder of the early converts. This is what they call the Acts 2 church. So right after YAHUSHA ascended, gave the Holy Spirit, this is what they did. So those who received the word were baptized, and there were added that day about 3,000 souls, and they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and fellowship, to the breaking of bread and the prayers. And fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done through the apostles, and all who believed were together. This is such a key element that we're missing right now. We're all spread apart, and that was destined to happen, but hey, the regathering has to happen. And all who believed were together and had all things in common, and they all sold their possessions and goods and distributed to them to all as any had need. And day by day, attending the temple together and breaking bread in their homes, they partook of food with glad and generous hearts, praising Elohim and having favor with all people. And Yahweh added to their number day by day those who were being saved. And so consider Acts 1:11 says, and said, men of Galilee, why do you stand looking into the heaven? This YAHUSHA, who is taken up from you into heaven, will come in the same way as you saw him go into heaven. So it's kind of interesting. When he left, he set his house in order, which was to have everyone kind of sell their excess and hang out and live together. So praise Yah. Let it be so again in the last days. So let's go to Exodus 6:9. And Moshe spoke to the children of Israel, but they hearkened not unto Moshe for anguish of the spirit and for cruel bondage. And so I find it kind of interesting, Paul talks about how the new believers were going back into bondage, and the Christian church teaches that bondage is the law of Moses, and it's real sad because it's literally the opposite. People were going back into the pagan ways and the ways of the world, which was bondage. I think it's in Galatians 4. He talks about bondage under the elements of the world, which we know that the Torah is not the elements of the world. It's spiritual. Romans 7 tells us the law is spiritual, not fleshly. But it's interesting, there is a lot of cruel bondage that's all over his people, and they fight to keep it. They're like, no, I want to fight to keep my pork and my Sunday and Christmas and Easter. And in a similar way, a lot of people are being like Aaron and Moshe, are speaking truth to their family and friends, and they're just not hearing, right? They hearken not. They're not, because of the anguish of the spirit, spiritual battles, oppressions they're going through. And, which put out a video yesterday, how to fight the devil like YAHUSHA did, and he fought the devil with the law, the Torah. And anyways, so kind of interesting here. So just consider also, before also writing people off and being so hasty with them, that people are literally going, through hell, as they say, going through these spiritual battles, through these oppressions, through anxieties, through financial hardships, financial ruin, death, sickness, cancer, all the things that people deal with. So before you are so quick to dust your feet off, if someone's just not hearing you, let's be like Moshe and like Joseph and YAHUSHA, that were long suffering. Not everybody's a Pharisee selling merchandise in the house of Yah that needs to be whipped and their tables flipped over. Just like everyone is not the prophets of Baal and you're not Elijah, but yet Yah's people seem to always want to operate in that just so. And listen, this is something I've had to work on myself, because the zeal of the fire of Yahweh burns within us, and it should keep the drive and the force of our life. That's how we're supposed to speak from the heart. The heart should be on fire for Yahweh. But a well-seasoned man or woman of Yahweh is able to also temper or meet that fire inside them with love, with joy, with peace, with patience, with kindness, with gentleness, with goodness, with long-suffering, with meekness, and with self-control. And we had to have that self-control to make sure it doesn't, get out of control. Because good things can be used for extreme good or for bad. Just like we know the word of Yahweh is pure, it's good, but it's been used for the utmost evil. So how much more also the fire that's within your heart? We got to make sure it's under control. So it's tough out there. So let's be considerate with one another. 1 Thessalonians 5:11, therefore encourage one another and build up one another, just as you are also doing. We've recognized that there's a time to chasten our children, but we also know that it's good to bring them up with care and with nurture and with encouragement. Same thing, even more basic. Some of you that, you dog lovers out there, you recognize that just sitting there beating your dog is not the way to really train them. Yeah, you might get them to stop doing something, but you're going to destroy them at the same time. You're going to have this dog that just, is... So how much more in a similar way when we're dealing with souls of men and women? Should we not have that gentle nature and courtesy and care with one another? Romans 14:19. So then we pursue the things which make for peace and the building up of one another. Consider we're supposed to be pastors and teachers and evangelists and prophets and healers for the building up, not for the oppression and the beating down of one another. Hebrews 3:13, but encourage one another every day as long as it is still called today, so that none of you will be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. Hebrews 10:24-25, and let us consider how to encourage one another in love and good deeds, not abandoning our own meeting together, as is the habit of some people, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. So, hey, we see the end times is here, or, at least we think it's here. It's close. Definitely a lot closer than our parents' generation and our great-grandparents and many, many before us. So we should be getting together more. Hello, Acts 2 Church. I feel for you all out there that your only fellowship is, YouTube videos and maybe even YouTube live streams in the chats, and even some of you have Zoom groups, which is awesome. But I'll tell you, brothers and sisters, there's nothing like getting together often, hugs, handshakes, refining each other in the Word, praying for each other, laying hands on each other. There's no replacement for coming together as one people, literally in the spirit, but also in the flesh, and building one another up to provoke and to encourage to do good deeds. 1 Peter 2:5, you also as living stones are being built up as a spiritual house for a holy priesthood to offer spiritual sacrifices that are acceptable to Elohim through YAHUSHA HaMashiach. So, again, let's just remember that there's broken people out there, and yes, they need to hear the Torah, they need to hear the Shabbat, they need to hear his name, they need to hear a lot of things. But remember, people still need the healing that comes with belief in Yahusha. And consider, that's why the churches still get filled every day. That's why there's people, masses, going to Christianity, because the healing power of Yahusha, of believing in the Son of Elohim, exists. Even if they have the wrong name, they have the first step to salvation, right? To believe, right? But it's like, and even baptize and receive the Holy Spirit. But it's like everything else after that, the road has been completely hedged up or blocked off, if you will. And at alternate courses, it's like, hey, come to Christ, come to salvation, and then go down, this extreme right-hand turn down Christianity. And there's several denominations of branches that take you off the path. But the first step onto the path exists, and that's why Christianity still exists, and that's why it's grown and it's powerful, because people do get, marriages do get healed. People do get healed of addictions and all sorts of things, and lifestyle changes. But it's like there's no growth after that. There's no entrance into the kingdom, at least from the scriptures I read, from all the parables that Messiah teaches, that if you don't follow his teachings, which is to be obedient to the Torah, you're not getting in, and you're not one of his. And I don't mean to be harsh with everyone, but that's the severity of the situation. That's the life and death reality of the situation, and that's why there's a job before us, and that's why we have to be fruitful and multiply, and that's why we have to reach out to them like Moshe and Aharon, and recognize that they're just like the children of Israel in Egypt, and they have the anguish of ruach, and they are steeped in cruel bondage, and they're even fighting for it. And so let's be patient with our brethren and love them and meet them where they're at. Some of you that want to destroy all the work that this ministry does because I say the word God, or may say the word Jesus now, recognizing in the maturity of our faith that saying the name Jesus does not condemn one to hell, and it's not invoking some false god. We put a video about that, about really what Exodus is talking about and what it's not talking about zakaring the names of other Elohim. And that Hebrew word zakar is very important. It talks about worship. It talks about remembrance in the ways of their statutes, their laws. It's not talking about simply saying an incorrect name. And recognizing that this ministry is all about fishing for men. And so just be careful, for those of you that are condemning me for saying that I'm going backwards if I say the word God, which is not the name of Satan. If in the future I make videos and I say the name Jesus, it's not to go backwards and to forsake the name Yahusha or Yeshua or all the progress that we're making, but it's people don't even know who you're talking about if you say Yahusha or Yeshua. Sometimes they're like, who? Are you preaching another Jesus? Like, I don't understand. Like, no. I'm talking about the Son of God, the one that's talked about in the book of Matthew. He's named there Jesus, but I understand his name is Yahusha. You got to meet people where they're at, brothers and sisters. This is not about a show of how much you know. It's about reaching souls and saving people and helping people to really save their life. Or is it literally you just want to go around and show people how much you know, not caring about who's destroyed in your wake? And that's what's happening so broadly in the Torah movement, and it needs to stop. So earlier I mentioned that perhaps not all the fullness of the law had been revealed yet. Again, knowing that Abraham knew the law, but had Leviticus 20:19 been revealed, which is, you shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister, nor of your father's sister, for he uncovers his near kin, they shall bear their iniquity. So basically, you can't marry your aunt, and that's what he did here. And so the question is, was Amram directly disobeying? And if so, why would Yah choose this family? And in a parallel way, Leviticus 18:18 says, neither shall you take a wife to her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness beside the other in her lifetime. Perhaps, if Jacob would have known this Torah, he would have been like, no, I can't. Although I wanted Rachel, I was tricked and got Leah, I can't marry her sister. Literally Leviticus 18:18 says, don't marry your wife's sister. And so it's like, was Jacob in perpetual sin, or had that not been revealed yet? Or perhaps even consider that Yah tells us we can't add or take away to his Torah, but that doesn't mean he can't. He's the one that created it. Why can't he add or take away? If he is of the status of being righteous to make the law, Well, why isn't he righteous then to be like, you know what? This has served its purpose. Animal sacrifices served its purposes. You're over here. And you know what? I really didn't like the household dynamic of Leah and Rachel and how there was enmity. And so, you know what? I don't think my people should marry sisters. I'm gonna add this law. He can do that. You know, again, he says, you, us, people who are not him, don't add to or take away from his law. Romans 5 kind of alludes to this. You know, it's like, well, Amram was in sin. Romans 5:12, wherefore as by one man sin enters into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. So there perhaps was no law in effect yet for to not marry your aunt. Perhaps, same thing in a similar way, you know, don't marry your sister. Okay, what about Adam and Eve? You know, I'm sorry, yeah, not Adam and Eve specifically, but their children, you know. Perhaps that law wasn't in effect yet. Maybe that had to be added later. Maybe there had to be some sort of population growth before that can even be even reasonable to add to his people. I'm just exploring some of these things. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who is the figure of him that was to come. So, you know, so in a similar way, it's like, okay, so now you have Amram who married his aunt, and they had these children. So why did Yahweh use Moshe, you know, who came from this kind of somewhat illicit marriage? Again, I'm of the understanding that perhaps that particular law had not been introduced yet, but also just continue to show. So, you know, the priesthood had some interesting beginnings. Well, the lineage of Messiah had some interesting, you know, weavings in there with Ruth the Moabite and other additions there. So another interesting part here, speaking of interesting lineages, well, here we have the high priest Aaron took him Elisheba, daughter of Amminadab, sister of Nachshon, just to be very clear who it's talking about. And this is interesting because you have a mixing here of the priestly and the kingly lineage right off the bat. I mean, you have the high priest Aaron marrying of the tribe of Judah, Nachshon, the son of Amminadab. And so this is clearly, he took a daughter of Judah, daughter of Amminadab, sister of Nachshon, right? And perhaps the upcoming, you know, don't mix the tribe law had not been actually, just in the timeline, I'm trying to think, maybe you guys can correct me there. I hadn't really had time to think about this specific thought prior to the study, but so here, what's interesting, you have the kind of high priest and the kingly role kind of being like, if this is trees, if marriages are like trees being grafted together, here you have kind of a foreshadow of what was to come, Messiah, the current, and also the future king priest role. Zechariah 6:12 says, and speak unto him, saying, thus speaketh Yahweh of hosts, saying, behold, the man whose name is the branch, the Natsar, the Natsarim, and he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of Yahweh. Even he shall build the temple of Yahweh, and he shall bear the glory, and shall sit and rule upon his throne, and he shall be a priest upon his throne, and the counsel of peace shall be between them both. So this is literally YAHUSHA reuniting the king and the priestly role here. And so here in this passage of the Torah, you kind of have a foreshadow of what YAHUSHA ultimately is going to do, is bring the king and priestly role back together, and he is going to reign in the heavens as the king priest forever, but also a foreshadow of his people. I'll get to that. So Psalm 110, Yahweh said unto my master, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. Yahweh shall send the rod of your strength out of Zion, rule you in the midst of your enemies. So we have a kingship here. Your people shall be willing in the day of your power, in the beauties of the holiness from the womb of the morning. You have the dew of your youth. Man, praise Yah. Yahweh has sworn and will not repent. You are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. So now we have this king, priest, individual. Yahweh at your right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. Man. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. He shall drink of the brook in the way. Therefore he shall lift up the head. I am just thirsty for this time to come. I mean, we know that he's done it in the spiritual and is in the heavenlies, but just yearn for him to come. Jeremiah 33:14-26, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I'll perform the good thing which I have promised unto the house of Israel and to the house of Judah. In those days and at that time, I will cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. Oh, please come. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith she shall be called, Yahweh, our righteousness. For thus says Yahweh, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. Neither shall the priests of the Levites want a man before me to offer burnt offerings, to kindle meat offerings, and to do sacrifice continually. And the word of Yahweh came unto Jeremiah, saying, Thus says Yahweh, if you can break my covenant of the day. I'm sorry, I don't know. This happened last week. I'm sorry. Thus says Yahweh, if you can break my covenant of the day and my covenant of the night, that there shall not be day and night in their season. So, it's like we look outside, it's still happening. Then may also my covenant be broken with David, my servant, that he should not have a son to reign upon his throne, and with the Levites, the priests, my ministers. As the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sand of the sea be measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto Jeremiah, saying, Consider you not what this people have spoken, saying, The two families which Yahweh has chosen, he has even cast them off. So it's like we can say that today. It's like, they're all scattered. We don't know who the priests are. We don't know who the kings are. But this is literally what we're saying right now. So it's like, he's like, consider what they're saying. Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before them. Thus says Yahweh, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth, then will I cast away the seed of Jacob and David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For I will cause their captivity to return and have mercy on them. So this is coming. This is coming, brothers and sisters. And, I want to read a quick passage from the book of the Nazarene, chapter 13, verses 13 through 14. It says, a man in the crowd, and this is talking about, the coming kingdom, the coming rulership of the kingdom, YAHUSHA coming, all the stuff we just read. It's like, oh, come on, let it come. A man in the crowd said to YAHUSHA, we have heard your teachings that you herald the rule or the kingdom of Elohim. Tell us about this. YAHUSHA said, there is a kingdom of the Ruach and the kingdom of the flesh. Yahweh rules the first himself, but the second he rules through his viceroy, man. But man tries to set himself up as an independent ruler, making his own laws and setting aside those of his sovereign. When the viceroy ceases to rebel and governs in accord with the decrees of the sovereign, that will be the rule of the Elohim, at least the beginning of it, right? So this can't happen until his people start doing this. And so we see the continued sin. The Israel started keeping the laws of the nations about them. And even the time of the Pharisees, they even concocted their own man-made rules. And so it's like, when is his people going to recognize that if we do it his way, this is yeah. So I had all the references. I don't know why they disappeared. I think I remember most of them. Okay. Let's go to Psalm 2. We're going to go to Revelation 2, Revelation 3, and then I can't remember the last one I had. We'll just start from there, and we'll see if the Spirit reminds me. So this is a picture of the end times. This is like the nations coming against Yah and his people, right? It says, why do the nations rage and the people? So it's like two groups. You have the world, and then you also have his own people. Imagine a vain thing. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sits in the heaven shall laugh. Yahweh shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. So listen, we have two choices. This is either he's setting YAHUSHA on the throne here, or he's setting his people on it. And I want a chance to explain that. I will declare the decree. Yahweh said unto me, you are my son. This day have I begotten you. So this is a future tense. Ask him. So we already know Yahweh has begotten YAHUSHA. Ask of me, and I shall give you the heathen for your inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. So this is a promise to a future. I will set you on your throne. I'll give you the heathen for your inheritance. You shall rule them. So this all sounds like stuff that YAHUSHA does, but consider this is what YAHUSHA told to his people. But this is Revelation 2:24. Actually, verse 26. And he that overcomes, this is given to opportunity for all of us, and keeps my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. That's what was just given to the promise in Psalm 2. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. And I will give him the morning star. Same thing given to YAHUSHA. And then let's go to Revelation 3, verse 21. Let's start 20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcomes is a promise. YAHUSHA's not a liar. Will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. And so consider, brothers and sisters. Oh, I had one last one. Consider that YAHUSHA came to restore that which was lost. Well, what was the promise from the beginning? Genesis 1:26, and Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion, kingship, rulership over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him, male and female created he them. And Elohim blessed them, and Elohim said to them, be fruitful, multiply, replenish your earth, subdue it, have rulership, kingship, dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over every living thing that moves upon the earth. And so, literally, when his people are restored and are walking in the image of Elohim, after the instruction and likeness of YAHUSHA HaMashiach, I believe he will set his people on the throne literally. I believe that YAHUSHA is, as you know, I believe he is the God of Israel, the Elohim of Israel. So I believe that he will sit as Elohim, as intended, and his viceroy, man, will sit on his throne as intended. Let's go to, there was another point I wanted to make real quick. I missed it. All right, so let's see, is there anything else I wanted to say on chapter 6? No, okay. Yeah. Let's go to chapter 7. So I think I made my point fair enough on that, or long enough on that. So, if I haven't made my point, I believe his people need to be conformed to the image, walking in the way that he taught his disciples to walk, living in community, having the Spirit, believing him, obeying the Torah, coming together as one. And I believe, I know where I was going to go. I believe that he will set his people as rulers. I mean, this is what Daniel 7 promises. These Daniel 7:17. These great beasts which are four kings or kingdoms which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. I beheld the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Even to this very moment, do they have rulership over the earth and are taking souls and rape and plunder and pillaging and adrenochrome and disgusting stuff? Until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. Praise Yah. Whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. Man, come on, brothers and sisters, let's wake up and let's do kingdom work and stop fighting each other and fight the real enemy. Although sometimes the enemy gets himself entrenched inside the walls, doesn't he? We do have to root him out. All right, Exodus 7. Let's listen in and we'll talk about it. Boy, that took a while for chapter 6. Praise the Most High. We're in no rush, are we?
Shemot, Exodus, chapter 7. And Yahweh said unto Moshe,
See, I have made you an Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aharon your brother shall be your prophet. You shall speak all that I command you, and Aharon your brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Yasharel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Mitzrayim, and bring forth my armies, and my people, the children of Yasharel, out of the land of Mitzrayim, by great judgments. And the Mitzrayim shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I stretch forth my hand upon the Mitzrayim, and bring out the children of Yasharel from among them.
And Moshe and Aharon did as Yahweh commanded them. So did they. And Moshe was 80 years old, and Aharon 83 years old, when they spoke unto Pharaoh. And Yahweh spoke unto El Moshe, and unto El Aharon, saying,
When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, Show a miracle for you, then you shall say unto El Aharon, Take your rod, and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent.
And Moshe and Aharon went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as Yahweh had commanded. And Aharon cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Mitzrayim. They also did in like manner with their enchantments, for they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. But Aharon's rod swallowed up their rods, and he hardened Pharaoh's heart, that he hearkened not unto them, as Yahweh had said. And Yahweh said unto Moshe,
Pharaoh's heart is hardened. He refuses to let the people go. Get you unto Pharaoh in the morning. Lo, he goes out unto the water. You shall stand by the river's brink, against he come. And the rod which was turned to a serpent shall you take in your hand. And you shall say unto him, Yahuwah Elohai of the Ivrim has sent me unto you, saying, Let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, hitherto you would not hear. Thus says Yahuwah, In this you shall know that I am Yahuwah. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in my hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish that is in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Mitzrayim shall loathe the drink of the water of the river.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe,
Say unto Aharon, Take your rod, and stretch out your hand upon the waters of Mitzrayim, upon their streams, upon their rivers, and upon their ponds, and upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout all the land of Mitzrayim, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone.
And Moshe and Aharon did so, as Yahweh commanded. And he lifted up the rod, and smote the waters that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants. And all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. And the fish that was in the river died. And the river stank. And the Mitzrayim could not drink of the water of the river. And there was blood throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. And the magicians of Mitzrayim did so with their enchantments. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, neither did he hearken unto them, as Yahweh had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither did he set his heart to this also. And all the Mitzrayim dug round about the river for water to drink, for they could not drink of the water of the river. And 7 days were fulfilled after that Yahweh had smitten the river.
Man, can you imagine that? It's kind of interesting. The river water is necessity, sustenance for life. The Nile itself is what made Egypt prosperous, rich, powerful, and it's like the thing that sustained them, of course, became death unto them. In a similar way, kind of while we were reading this, I don't really have much to go off of, but I was thinking, the staff that turns to a serpent and back to a staff, it just seems so random, and it seems so kind of like, why would that be the sign, I think we'll read it in a little bit. I think the address that I'm thinking about is in Micah 7. I think it says, feed the flock of your pasture with the rod, something like that. And we know that the rod, the staff, it's for correction, it's for shepherding, it's for counsel, it's for the protection of the sheep. And it's interesting that the rod, becomes a serpent, which is related to the devil, Satan, and then it gets restored again. It's interesting. That's kind of what happens to Yah's leadership. It was for that, and it turned, of course, into wickedness. Messiah called them, you serpents, you generations of vipers. And then, of course, YAHUSHA himself restores true leadership, true foundational biblical leadership, which is based off of mercy and love and compassion and healing and caring for the sheep, rather than lording over them and trotting them underfoot. And the scriptures talk about them fouling up their waters, and eating of the fat of the flock, but not feeding the flock themselves. And so it's kind of interesting. Again, this is I don't have much to go off of. If it's from Yah, praise Yah. If it's not, and it's just like a kind of a fleeting thought, I don't know, but maybe you guys can in the comments section on that. But the rod, again, for teaching instruction, turns into just something dangerous and poisonous to man, as the Pharisees had become, and then YAHUSHA comes and restores that rod as it should be. So just some thoughts there. I had not thought of that previously till actually just really today. So praise Yah. If that's something there, if it's not, then just kind of just let that exit your mind. But in a similar way, the waters are supposed to be for sustainment. I think that's what maybe helped me here. The waters are supposed to be for sustainment, and that itself turned to their destruction. And so kind of a similar things here. So Exodus 7:1, literally Yahweh takes Moshe, it said the meekest man of the earth at the time, and raises him to exalt him over Pharaoh. Pharaoh is the most powerful man in the world. Regardless of your feelings of Trump, I think we could probably assess that, at least for the visible side, we know that there's the hand that controls things behind the scenes. We know that even Satan controls things behind the scenes. But on the face, Trump seems to be the most powerful man in the world. And so Yahweh literally takes the meekest person in the world and would exalt them over someone like Trump today. Again, if you look at some of the characteristics of Pharaoh and some of the behavioral patterns of certain leaders, there's a lot of parallel things here. Even though there's surface level confessions of belief in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but this is a reminder. I don't know why. Last year I was digging the NASB, but I really like the King James. Sorry. Psalm 25:9. The meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. So it's like, even you see meek people come into the walk, and knowledge puffs up sometimes when it's unchecked, or when there's no accountability or shepherding or refinement. Iron sharpens iron, and like I said, if people aren't near each other, then a lot of people are on the lonely islands and they become their own teachers and have really not a lot of accountability and go grazing off into wrong pastures and all kinds of stuff. But what happens sometimes is people do get a hold of knowledge and they get puffed up and they're no longer meek and humble, and he stops teaching them. You kind of see that. It's just like, shut off. Luke 17:10. So likewise, when you shall have done these things which are commanded you, say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do. So basically, you can just be like, hey, I'm just doing my job. Praise be the Most High. Anything that you do that people give you praise for, it should always be giving thanks and honor and glory to Yahweh. Because it's like, who's the one that dispenses knowledge or understanding, or the gift of healing hands, or the gift of tongues, or the gift of prophecy, or the gift of understanding? He's the one that gives it. Zechariah 12:8. In that day shall Yahweh defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as Elohim, as the angel of Yahweh before them. So it's literally taking the lowly and raising them up, is Yahusha's way. Matthew 23:12. Whoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. He tells us this in a similar parable. When you're invited to a feast, even though you may have the dignity to sitting up at the front, he's like, just sit at the back. He's like, let them say, hey, you come up here. In a similar way, that's how we should present ourselves to the world, to each other. That's why we're supposed to be in subjection to each other. Even if one is in a high place, should be in the same position, spiritually, or how we act. Like Messiah said, I'm here and you're all brethren, and that's how we should act. And so let Yahweh raise us up in the eyes of whatever the world. Let Yahweh do with us what he did with Moshe. Take a humble and meek person to be like, hey, who am I? I'm nothing. I'm nobody, to literally being exalted over the most powerful land in the world. And that's Yah's way. So hallelujah. Let's go to Exodus 7:2. Just saying, you shall speak everything to Pharaoh. Messiah tells us in an end times context, Luke 21:15, for I will give you a mouth and wisdom which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. So when it's time, and if it's from him, he'll be with you. He'll guide you. He'll tell you what to say. Talking about in Exodus 7:3, Pharaoh's hardened heart. In an opposite way, again, I am just... It's not that I like the KJV because it says Lord and God and all that stuff. I like it's... I think it's because the Strong's Concordance use, and really it's just what a lot of my memory is at. So when I say I like the King James, I just like it better than the new translations. Still like the Sefer, the Yah scriptures, stuff like that. But for like using tools online and stuff like this. Proverbs 16, the preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from Yahweh. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but Yahweh weighs the spirits. Commit your works unto Yahweh. So this is like what YAHUSHA said, seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So commit your works, be kingdom-minded, be spiritually minded, be Torah-minded, and your thoughts shall be established. So if you're like, man, my thoughts are plaguing me, I'm always thinking about this and that. Meditate on the Torah day and night. That doesn't mean literally just reading the Torah day and night, but literally putting it into practice. Like everything we do and act should be Torah-centered, Torah-based, because that is the foundation of what's right, what's wrong. With the seasoning and the garnish of the prophets, the writings, and of course with the finishing touches of Messiah, who came to clarify what he was talking about when he gave the law. Exodus 7:5, the Mitzrayim shall know that I am Yahweh when I shall stretch forth my hand. And this is going to happen in the last days. Isaiah 52:3-6, for thus says Yahweh, you have sold yourselves for nothing, and ye shall be redeemed without money. For thus says Yahweh, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Now therefore, what have I here, says Yahweh, that my people is taken away for nothing? They that rule over them make them to howl, says Yahweh, and my name continually every day is blasphemed. Therefore my people shall know my name, therefore they shall know in that day that I am he that does speak. Behold, it is I. Ezekiel 37:28, and the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. Praise Yah. Here, this is what I was mentioning earlier about the feeding with the rod. Micah 7:11-17, in the day that your walls are to be built, in that day shall the decree be far removed. In that day also he shall come even to you from Assyria, and from the fortified cities, and from the fortresses, even to the river, and from sea to sea, and from mountain to mountain. Notwithstanding, the land, Jerusalem, shall be desolate because of them that dwell in it, for the fruit of their doings. Feed your people with thy rod, the flock of your heritage, which dwell solitarily in the wood, in the midst of Carmel. Let them feed in Bashan and Gilead, as in the days of old. According to the days of your coming out of the land of Egypt, will I show unto him marvelous things. So it's happening. It's going to happen again. bros and sisses. The nations shall see and be confounded at all their might. They shall lay their hands upon their mouth. Their ears shall be deaf. They shall lick up the dust like a serpent. I'm not going to reenact that. They shall move out of the... Someone will just be waiting to get that screen captured, right, to expose me. They shall lick the dust like a serpent. They shall move out of their holes like worms of the earth. They shall be afraid of Yahweh Elohim and shall fear because of you. Just like before. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. And this is why I want to be on his side. And this is why the dividing line has always been his Torah, and then that's why I want to stay on the right side of things, y'all. And it's not just not to be fearful. It's because it's what he delights in. I delight to do his will. But I want to be honest, y'all. When all this goes down, I want to be on the right side of things. When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, show me a miracle for you. You shall say unto El-Haron, take your rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. So yeah, again, what was supposed to be protection, nourishment, healing for the children of Israel became serpent-like, and then got repaired. Hallelujah. Repaired the breach. YAHUSHA repaired the breach. In these last days, people are supposed to be like Messiah, repairing the breach that was broken, after the first century when the enemy came in and plundered the truth. So then we got the first plague, right? Water turned into blood. So again, parallel things that were for sustenance turned into death. Revelation 8:8-11, and the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. So similar things. Now, we have to understand Revelation is a book of parables, and so this may not be talking about a literal mountain burning with fire cast into the sea. This could literally be, we know that mountains are governments, authorities. The sea is the nations, multitudes, peoples, where the whore sits. And the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea had life and died. And the third part of the ships were destroyed. So the fishermen, from my understanding. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers, upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died because of the waters, because they were made bitter. Now, this is definitely parable talk, that if you don't know the Torah, you'll miss the whole point. Deuteronomy 29:14-21. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that stands here with us this day before Yahweh Elohim, and also with him that is not here with us this day. For you know how that we have dwelt in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the nations which you passed by. And you have seen their abominations, and their idols, and their stone, and their silver, and gold, which were among them. Listen up, Israel, lest there should be among you any man, or woman, or family, or tribe, whose heart turns away this day from Yahweh Elohim, turning away from the Torah, that's the whole context, to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that bears gall and wormwood. What is going on in Revelation now? And it come to pass, when he hears the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of my heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. This is all anti-Torah sentiments here. Yahweh will not spare him, but then the anger of Yahweh and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and Yahweh shall blot out his name from under heaven. And the book of life that's talked about in Revelation. And Yahweh shall separate him into evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the law. Jeremiah 9:13, and Yahweh says, because they have forsaken my law, which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein. And even YAHUSHA gave parables about, my sheep hear my voice, and they follow me, but have walked after the imagination of their own heart, Sunday, pork, Easter, Ishtar, Christmas, trunk or treat, and after Balaam, which their fathers taught them. Therefore, thus says Yahweh Sabaoth, the Elohim of Israel, behold, I will feed them, even this people with wormwood, and give them water of gall to drink. Now, listen, I'm not saying this to go accuse Christians. I'm just giving you the parallels of what's going on today and the tragedy thereof. And listen, I'll tell you straight up, this last week, I was in Indiana, and my mother set up an amazing divine appointment. This goes to show you that you can hear the voice of Yahweh, but also ruin His timing. I really felt I heard the voice of Yahweh say, you need to show your family all the things that I'm showing you. And I sat down, and I was getting ready to write a letter, and I was like, and then I felt like the Spirit was like, that's not going to catch any fish. Delete it, write it again. I'm like, oh, it's the same heart and spirit. No, delete. Nothing. 4 years later, coming into town. Hey, Mom, I'm coming to visit. Last minute visit. She's like, great. Hey, how about I get everyone together on the Saturday and tell them that you're going to do a teaching? I'm like, okay, cool. There it was. There was my opportunity that was served up for me, and He had done the tilling. And listen, 4 years ago, I thought I knew how to deliver the truth, but I was still in the Torah terrorist phase, where you could really hear the call from Yahweh, but get in the way of the message with your own toddler phase. I mean, we look at like our toddlers, we look at our teenagers, and they like, what do? They scream, they yell, they rebel, they thrash. We've got to be mature. We gotta be mature in our delivery. So, anyways, I don't know. I'm getting off on a really long tangent here, but the point is that I was able to share this truth, which I think I'll share as the message for Shabbat tomorrow at Ancient Path Fellowship. If you don't know that, by the way, all the live streams used to be on Parable. We're on Ancient Path Revivals. Our fellowship called Ancient Path Fellowship. We do a weekly live stream there for like a weekly gathering on the Sabbath. So. Anyways, so on Saturday, I got to share with my family the truth, and I really think they heard me, and we'll see if there's fruit born from that, but all in its timing. But I actually later that day went with them it was Saturday night church. It was still a Sunday keeping church that had services also on Saturday, and I saw a room full of people that were earnestly seeking the God of Israel, but were misguided on how to do that. And so, brothers and sisters, the harvest is white and plenteous. There's just not enough workers. A lot of the workers, we read earlier, there's fishers of men and hunters of men. And I still think we're in the fishing phase, and I think people are going to the hunting phase a little too soon. So we need to be cautious and be fishers of men. And if any of you have fished, you recognize you don't catch fish by taking the rod, speaking of rods, and smacking the water with it. We catch fish by putting lures on the hook and putting it in the water and luring them. So obviously we're not trying to be deceitful with people, but we're trying to bring them in a nice way, in a comforting way, in a way that feeds them. And so just keep that in mind. So let's get back to what else did I want to talk about here. So we have some parallels of Egypt, the Nile, the river, dragons, serpents. Isaiah 27:1. In that day, Yahweh with his sore and great strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. What does this parable talk for? I think this is end times talk about throwing down Satan, who is the ultimate king of Tyre. He is the ultimate Pharaoh. He is the ultimate wicked rulers that mentions, you'll see. It's like in Ezekiel 27 through 28, you have this physical city of Tyre, and then you have the king of Tyre, but you're like, wow, this is talking about something much bigger than the city of Tyre, and this is definitely not talking about the king of Tyre, because this king of Tyre definitely wasn't built as a musical instrument that was encrusted with rubies and jewels, and he wasn't a cherubim of Elohim, and he definitely wasn't in the mountain of Elohim stepping on the stones of fire like angels do. So this, I believe, is talking about throwing down Satan and his his temporary authority over this world, and down with it is going to come Pharaoh, which I believe is alluding to the dragon that's in the sea, talking about Pharaoh, who is the ruler of the nations, multitudes, and people. And you get a kind of allusion to that here, Ezekiel 29:1. So when this ultimate Pharaoh goes down, it's going to topple the whole system, and that's why it's going to be replaced with Yahweh's system. Ezekiel 29, in the 10th year, in the 10th month, in the 12th day of the month, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and prophesy against him and against all Egypt. Speak and say, Thus says Yahweh Elohim, behold, I am against you, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, the great dragon that lies in the midst of the rivers, which has said, my river is my own. I have made it for myself. But I will put hooks in your jaws, and I will cause the fish of the rivers to stick unto your scales, and I will bring you up out of the midst of the rivers, and all the fish of the rivers shall stick unto your scales. And I will leave you thrown into the wilderness, you and all the fish of your rivers. You shall fall upon the open fields. You shall not be brought together, nor gathered. I have given you for meat to the beasts of the field and to the fowls of heaven. And all the inhabitants of Egypt shall know that I am Yahweh, because they have been a staff of reed to the house of Israel. So this is interesting, for people that are resting in the governments and resting in the nations and resting in people like Trump, rather than resting in recognizing that, yes, we may live in Egypt and we should respect the place we live in, and even build houses while we're in Babylon and things like that. But to know where our ultimate authority comes from and who we really follow and who really does govern the well-being of our life and who we put our hopes and trusts in, because it's saying here, those that trust in Pharaoh, it says, right? It says all the fish shall stick into your scales. So it's like if the ruler is in the midst of the rivers, and you keep seeing Pharaoh going into the middle of the river when Moses meets him, alluding to this parable, right? Pharaoh, who's in this river, even says the river is mine, right? He says lies in the midst of the rivers, says the river is mine. I made it for myself. It's mine, 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 mine. This selfish, greedy attitude. When he comes down, all those that are attached to him, all those that are leaning on him, are going to get sucked out of the river, the nourishing river, with him. And that's why I think there's an allusion to the rivers are going to be destroyed. Lots of fish are going to be destroyed along with this toppling of this rulership here. Habakkuk 1:13-17. You are of pure eyes then to behold evil, and cannot look on iniquity. Wherefore look you upon them that deal treacherously, and hold your tongue when the wicked devour the man that is more righteous than he, and makes men as the fishes of the sea, as the creeping things that have no ruler over them. They take up all of them with the angle. They catch them in their net. They gather them in their drag. Therefore they rejoice and are glad. Therefore they sacrifice unto their net, and burn incense unto their drag, because by them their portion is fat, and their meat plenteous. Shall they therefore empty their net, and not spare continually to slay the nations? That's why when this comes down, that's why when the whore, the great whore comes down, those that are attached to her ways will come down too. That's why you're going to see a toppling of the United States. That's why you're going to see that, you see this this parallel in Revelation, all the shipmasters in the sea. It's not talking about like trade ships from China, like looking at America being like, oh, this is parable talk. This is talking about these right here. This is talking about you make men as the fishes of the sea, and you take them up with angle. And that's why it says Mystery Babylon not only deals with gold and frankincense and myrrh, but with souls of men. And ultimately, that's the great sin. That's the great precious thing here. The souls of men compared to all the gold in the world is nothing. And that's why YAHUSHA was so was so harsh with the Pharisees and Sadducees, because they were dealing with the souls of men. He says you travel sea and land to make one convert. When you do, you make him twice the child of hell than you. And he's saying, you religious leaders, you're not going to heaven. And neither are you even suffering those that are really wanting to go. And that's what broke my heart when I was sitting there at church and I was looking around. These people want to, but these shepherds are keeping them from it with their fouled waters. And so anyways, point being, in Revelation, it's all parable talk about these shipmasters and the captains and looking afar off and seeing, because that dynamic, that paradigm is going to topple. Because right now you have the souls of men going to the service of Satan. Because it says in Revelation 13, the dragon gave power unto the beast. The beast is the Roman system, the Roman Catholic system that only followed after the dictates after her mother. Yes, let's claim to be in covenant with Yahweh and do nothing he says. Isn't that not what Israel did? Is that not what the Catholic Church has followed in step as a daughter? And therefore, even most Christian denominations, even though there was the Reformation, they only got so far away from her. That's why what's going on now with this movement of Yahweh is completely coming out of her and completely uprooting all the traditions we used to do and replacing them with the ways of the Most High. That's the only way to live, brothers and sisters, and that's why we've got to reach our Christian brothers and sisters who want to go in but are not suffering to go in because of them who hold them at the gate. Oh, I got off on a tangent. Where am I at now? Okay, I think I covered what I wanted to cover in chapter 7. Here is the nice big chart that you can see how all the... I'm sorry. I never... You know what? I should have ChatGPT maybe redo a table like this for me. By the way, I'm going to be making a video coming soon. I am not against AI. I don't think it's fallen angels. I don't think it's the devil. I think it's like everything else that Christians have come across over the last couple of decades would have said that barcodes are the mark of the beast, that credit cards are the mark of the beast, and SIM cards are the mark of the beast, and cell phones are the mark of the beast, and none of these are. It's like the internet, the phones, computers, all can be used for wicked, disgusting, horrible things, but they can also be used for righteous things. Look at what we're doing right now. But yeah, I came to truth through my cell phone and through laptop as the vehicle, of course. So we can't scoff at every bit of technology that comes across and act like fools, crying wolf every time, being like, this is it, this is the end. It's a tool that can be used for good or evil as well. So I don't know, I didn't mean to get off on an AI tangent, but I am going to be making a video soon on what AI should be used for and what it shouldn't. I have recognized that there's just some things that I don't think AI should be used for. But I'll get to that in the video soon. But point being is, here's a chart. You can see how there's a lot, so everything except for the gnats, the flies, and the pestilence mentioned specifically don't line up with Revelation, but everything else, the water turning to blood, the frogs, the boils, the hail and lightning, the locusts, darkness, the death, all those things line up. So we know that we are right over the target by studying Exodus right now and trying to really understand what Yahweh is telling us here. There's lots of interesting things in the book of Jasher, but I have those in the study notes italicized. I'm skipping over a lot of Jasher this year and the Targums. Just where I'm at this year. So let's go to chapter 8, and we'll move on. We're going to go to the plague of the frogs, which also holds some end times interesting things here. So let's go. Actually, we're going to read Exodus 8, 1 through 15. We'll stop and talk about it, and then, yeah.
Shemot, Exodus, chapter 8. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe,
Go unto Pharaoh, say unto him, Thus says Yahuwah, Let my people go, that they may serve me. And if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all your borders with frogs. And the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into your house, and into your bedchamber, and upon your bed, and into the house of your servants, and upon your people, and into the ovens, and into your kneading troughs. And the frogs shall come up, both on you and upon your people, and upon all your servants.
And Yahweh spoke unto El Moshe,
Say unto El Aharon, Stretch forth your hand with your rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause the frogs to come up upon the land of Mitzrayim.
And Aharon stretched out his hand over the waters of Mitzrayim, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Mitzrayim. And the magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up the frogs upon the land of Mitzrayim. Then Pharaoh called for Moshe and Aharon and said,
Entreat El Yahuwah, that he may take away the frogs from me, and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may do sacrifice unto Yahuwah.
And Moshe said unto Pharaoh, Glory over me. When shall I entreat for you, and for your servants, and for your people, to destroy the frogs from you and from your houses, that they may remain in the river only? And he said,
Tomorrow.
And he said, Be it according to your word, that you may know that there is none like unto Yahweh Eloheinu. And the frogs shall depart from you, and from your houses, and from your servants, and from your people. They shall remain in the river only. And Moshe and Aharon went out from Pharaoh. And Moshe cried unto YAHUSHA because of the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. And YAHUSHA did according to the word of Moshe, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the villages, and out of the fields. And they gathered them together upon heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, he hardened his heart, and hearkened not unto them as YAHUSHA had said.
I love this portion. Jake did such a great job. I don't think Jake watches these, but Jake, I love you, bro. So I want to talk about frogs in the end times, because it directly says here, Revelation 16, 13 through 14, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophets. For they are spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of El Shaddai. So literally, this is like a releasing of spirits all over the world to influence people and to, false signs, false wonders, all sorts of things to guide people away from the Torah. That's ultimately what these spirits do. 2 Timothy 3, this also know that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves. So this is not talking about worldly people. This is talking about even in people that claim to be in Yah's house. Lovers of their own self, so selfish, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, which the Torah tells us how to be holy. We know that the New Testament tells us that we're made righteous, made holy by Yahusha, but it is our job. This isn't like a Yahusha take the wheel and I just kick back and you do all the works for me. Boy, that's about as haughty of an attitude as I've ever heard of. We become holy by Yahusha, but we continue to draw near, and we have to walk in holiness as he is holy. So Leviticus 19 for more on that. Without natural affection, truce breakers. Man, you see this so much in the Torah movement. It's like, man, you see like people of the world sometimes are not as quick to break truces, or to be false accusers, or incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors. This is something that happens a lot in Yah's house. And so, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than the lovers of Elohim, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. And this, I think, is the main sin of the mainstream Christian doctrine. You see it a lot in their music, and you see it a lot in the doctrine, which is, I'm just a big old mess. It's almost like a form of Calvinism, of just depravity, in that we're just so helpless we can't do anything. And that's this whole thing. You see it in their songs, I'm broken, and you're righteous, and maybe even some of their songs, they say they fix them, but there's no acknowledgement of you are made whole, go and sin no more. That's the whole point, where he heals us so that we can walk like sons of Elohim, like him. So having a form of godliness, but they're denying the power. They're denying the power that the Ruach HaKodesh was given to us to empower us to walk in the Torah. For of this sort which creep into houses, lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth, which we know is the Torah. So they're ever learning all sorts of doctrine, but never coming to the actual Torah. Now as Jannes and Jambres withstood Moses, this is the names of the magicians that we're reading about, so do these also resist the truth. Men of corrupt minds reprobate concerning the faith. So it's like trying to keep people away from the truth and doing these signs and miracles by these unclean frogs that are inhabiting people. And if they're going to kings, they are going to influential people to influence the people to not walk in the way. And even doing these false signs similar to what Yah's people actually do. You see that Moses and Aaron, they're doing these signs, and you see the magicians are able to do basic ones. Of course, Yah turns up the heat, as they say, and then they're not able to keep up. But they shall proceed no further, for their folly shall be manifest unto all men, as theirs also was. So praise Yah for that day coming. Close a couple tabs here. I've got lots of tabs. Let's see. Let's go to, speaking of, now that you're primed for that whole parable with the river, the waters, the blood, the fish, the dying, Pharaoh in the river, the water is supposed to sustain life. And then now we're talking specifically about the false shepherds, which you can point at the Pharisees and the Sadducees, but ultimately also today in Christian churches, keeping people from the truth. But also, what about teachers of the Torah that are bringing people to the Torah, but that are teaching them to be angry, upset, Torah terrorists, to be calendar crusaders, to be name Nazis, to be all these things which divide and tear and scatter the flock rather than to repair. And what about even Torah teachers that come in and are teaching almost this hyper spiritualization thing, and kind of like, yeah, they'll acknowledge commandments, but it becomes this almost abhorrent thing to keep the Sabbath and the tzitzit in comparison to how amazing it is to have spiritual gifts and to kind of flex on those things. And so we've got to be very careful. The road is very, very narrow. Ezekiel 34:2, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them, Thus says Yahweh Elohim unto the shepherds, Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? And so let's go a little bit further just to save a little time. Verse 17, And as for you, O my flock, thus says Yahweh Elohim, Behold, I judge between cattle and cattle, between rams and the he-goats. Does it seem a small thing unto you to have eaten up the good pasture, but you must tread down with your feet the residue of your pastures, and to have drunk of the deep waters, so you can think of the rivers or whatever, but you must foul the residue with your feet? And as for my flock, they eat that which you have trodden with your feet, and they drink that which you have fouled with your feet. So it's like muddying up the waters, right? That's the literal interpretation of, yeah, y'all may call you to do this or that, but you can literally get in the way and muddy up the waters. Therefore, thus says Yahweh Elohim unto them, Behold, even I will judge between the fat cattle and between the lean cattle, because you have thrust with side and with shoulder, and pushed all the disease with your horns, till you have scattered them abroad. And again, teachers that teach to scatter the flock through division, through harshness, through whatever. Therefore I will save my flock, and they shall no more be a prey, and I will judge between cattle and cattle. And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, even my servant David. He shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd. Oh, Yahweh, let that day come. Hallelujah. We need unification. We have to. We have to have unification. And I, Yahweh, will be their Elohim, and my servant David, a prince among them. I, Yahweh, have spoken. So that's something we got to pray for, and that it comes, because we need this unification, brothers and sisters. Psalm 1. And so thinking about the rivers and Pharaoh and shepherds fouling up the water, and think about what the actual symbology of this water should be. Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and in his Torah does he meditate day and night. Remember, that's not just reading, that's just walking in it, living a lifestyle of. And so the person that does that shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth his fruit in his season. His leaf shall also not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. So, brothers and sisters, I'll probably beat that point to the death. So we talked about the plague of the blood, giving it some spiritual context. Let's go to the next plague, the gnats. So let's listen in to the word audio and talk about it.
And Yahweh said unto El Moshe,
Say unto El Aharon, Stretch out your rod, and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Mitzrayim.
And they did so. For Aharon stretched out his hand with his rod, and smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice in man and in beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. And the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth the lice, but they could not. So there were lice upon man and upon beast. Then the magicians said unto Pharaoh,
This is the finger of Elohim.
And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them, as Yahweh had said.
All right. Let's take a look at, let's see. Actually, you know what? I just had some Jasher passages, so we're going to keep moving to the next portion. Yeah. Gnats.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe,
Rise up early in the morning, stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he comes forth to the water. and say unto him, Thus says Yahuwah, Let my people go, that they may serve me. Else if you will not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon you, and upon your servants, and upon your people, and into your houses. And the houses of the Mitzrayim shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are. And I will deliver in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end you may know that I am Yahuwah in the midst of the earth. And I will put a division between my people and your people. Tomorrow shall this sign be.
And Yahuwah did so, and there came a grievous swarm of flies into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Mitzrayim. The land was corrupted by reason of the swarm of flies. And Pharaoh called for Moshe and for Aharon and said,
Go ye, sacrifice to your Elohim in the land.
And Moshe said, It is not meet so to do, for we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Mitzrayim to Yahweh Eloheinu. Lo, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Mitzrayim before their eyes? And will they not stone us? We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, and sacrifice to Yahweh Eloheinu, as he shall command us. And Pharaoh said,
I will let you go, that ye may sacrifice to Yahuwah Elohika in the wilderness. Only ye shall not go very far away. Entreat for me.
And Moshe said, Behold, I go out from you, and I will entreat El Yahuwah, that the swarms of flies may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people, tomorrow. But let not Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more in not letting the people go to sacrifice to Yahuwah. And Moshe went out from Pharaoh and entreated Yahuwah. And Yahuwah did according to the word of Moshe, and he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. There remained not one. And Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also, neither would he let the people go.
All right, praise Yah. Chapter 8. So listen, you serve Yahweh and he'll take the flies away from you. That is the moral of this lesson here. No, seriously, the flies, if you've never been in a situation where flies seem to have overtaken your home, it's hard to really understand how much of a plague this is. A lot of you know that we live in a community here in Southwest Missouri. This is Community 2.0. Praise Yah for Community 2.0. Community 1.0 was actually kind of accidental. We had just bought a, praise be to Yahweh, he gave us provisions. We were able to purchase an old gas station in Galena, Missouri. Run down, needed a lot of work, but really it was in our price range. Hallelujah. And so we ended up finding out through a sister that there was an RV park that was only like just 3-4 miles down the road, and it was really inexpensive, and it was like on a river. Speaking of rivers, right? It was on a river and it was beautiful, and so Victoria and I, we were living in a camper at the time, and I was like, "Yahweh, this is perfect." The RV spot was only $300 a month for a full hookup, right on the river. On a tube float campground. It's like 3 miles from our building that we're renovating and beginning to gather in. The fellowship had grown. We were in a park, and then we were in a garage, and then we were in the park again, and then we were rented a American Legion building, and everyone hated that, because it's like American Legion, Freemasons. Anyways, we were able to buy a building, and anyways. We're at Camp Tomahawk, Galena, Missouri, and it was accidental community. Like, we moved in, and then another family found out about the fellowship building and the campground, and they were living in a camper. Before you knew it, we had 70 people there, and we're like, whoa. It was next to a turkey barn with like tens of thousands of turkeys, like right next door, and we had the plague of flies there, and there was a lot of praying. There was a lot of fly traps, and there's a lot of looking forward to the days where Yahuwah makes his people openly known, where there's no flies. And So yeah. Anyways, just let's go to Exodus 9, and let's read through that, and we'll finish up the Torah portion. Praise Yah. So let's listen. And praise Yah for Community 2.0.
Shemot, Exodus chapter 9. Then Yahuwah said unto El Moshe,
Go in unto Pharaoh and tell him, Thus says Yahuwah Elohai of the Ephraim, Let my people go, that they may serve me. For if you refuse to let them go, and will hold them still, behold, the hand of Yahuwah is upon your cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, upon the camels, upon the oxen, upon the sheep. There shall be a very grievous pestilence, and Yahuwah shall sever between the cattle of Yasharel and the cattle of Mitzrayim, and there shall nothing die of all that is the children's of Yasharel.
And Yahuwah appointed a set time, saying,
Tomorrow Yahuwah shall do this thing in the land.
And Yahuwah did that thing on the morrow, and all the cattle of Mitzrayim died, but of the cattle of the children of Yasharel died not one. And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of Yasharel dead. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go.
Okay, really quickly, I mentioned in that chart, it said that there was no mention of cattle dying in Revelation, but I think it's by implication when it says all green grass was dried up. That could be parabolic. Let me bring to remembrance my words earlier on that some of the things like the shipmasters, and whatnot may be parabolic, and so all the green grass dying up may be parabolic. But if there is some literal sense of that, then of course livestock would die. And also I meant to mention on the last chapter, but I think we'll be talking more about it next Torah portion, about how in Revelation that these locusts are only able to harm those that don't have the seal of Elohim in their forehead. And so it's like, again, if you serve Yahweh and his name being in your forehead, I think is it's leaning towards the Deuteronomy 6, when you keep his commandments, they shall be in your sign on your forehead and in between your hand. And when you keep the Sabbath, same thing, forehead, hand, and whatnot. So let's keep going. We're Exodus 9 verse 8 with the plague of the boils.
And Yahuwah said unto El Moshe and unto El Aharon,
Take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moshe sprinkle it towards the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh. And it shall become small dust in all the land of Mitzrayim, and shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon man, and upon beast throughout all the land of Mitzrayim.
And they took the ashes of the furnace, and stood before Pharaoh. And Moshe sprinkled it up toward the heavens, and it became a boil, breaking forth with blains upon man, and upon beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moshe because of the boils, for the boil was upon the magicians, and upon all the Mitzrayim. And Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hearkened not unto them, as Yahweh had spoken unto El Moshe. And Yahweh said unto El Moshe,
Rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh, and say unto him, Thus says Yahuwah Elohai of the Ephraim, Let my people go, that they may serve me. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon your heart, and upon your servants, and upon your people, that you may know that there is none like me in all the earth. For now I will stretch out my hand, that I may smite you, and your people with pestilence, and you shall be cut off from the earth. And in very deed for this cause have I raised you up, for to show in you my power, that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. As yet exalt you yourself against my people, that you will not let them go? Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as has not been in Mitzrayim since the foundation thereof even until now. Send therefore now and gather your cattle, and all that you have in the field. For upon every man and beast which shall be found in the field, and shall not be brought home, the hail shall come down upon them, and they shall die.
He that feared the word of Yahweh among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses. And he that regarded not the word of Yahweh left his servants and his cattle in the field. And Yahweh said unto Moshe,
Stretch forth your hand towards the heavens, that there may be hail in all the land of Mitzrayim, upon man and upon beast, and upon every herb of the field, throughout the land of Mitzrayim.
And Moshe stretched forth his rod toward the heavens, and Yahweh sent thunder and hail, and the fire ran along upon the ground, and Yahweh rained hail upon the land of Mitzrayim. So there was hail, and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Mitzrayim since it became a nation. And the hail smote throughout all the land of Mitzrayim, all that was in the field, both man and beast, and the hail smote every herb of the field, and broke every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Yasharel were, was there no hail. And Pharaoh sent and called for Moshe and Aharon, and said unto them,
I have sinned this time. Yahuwah is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Entreat Yahuwah, for it is enough that there be no more mighty thunderings and hail, for I will let you go. Ye shall stay no longer.
And Moshe said unto him, As soon as I am gone out of the city, I will spread abroad my hands unto Yahweh, and the thunder shall cease, neither shall there be any more hail, that you may know how that the earth is Yahweh's. But as for you and your servants, I know that you will not fear Yahweh Elohim. And the flax and the barley was smitten, for the barley was in the ear, and the flax was bold. But the wheat and the rye were not smitten, for they were not grown up. And Moshe went out of the city from Pharaoh, and spread abroad his hands unto Yahweh, and the thunders and the hail ceased, and the rain was not poured upon the earth. And when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunders were ceased, he sinned yet more, and hardened his heart, he and his servants. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, neither would he let the children of Yasharel go, as Yahweh had spoken by Moshe.
Ooh, hardened heart. It's tough to see, it's tough to hear, but a lot of this kind of rejection still happens today, doesn't it? With even, it's like all these miracles, and you're like, man, can't you just see Yahweh's hand in this? This just came to me. Praise be to Yahweh. And Pharaoh sent and called for Moshe and Aharon and said to them, I have sinned this time. Yahweh is righteous. I and my people are wicked. And so I was like, oh wow, you're saying the right things, but your heart is still in the wrong place. In the Psalms, it says, his words were smoother than oil or butter. Oops. But there was war in his heart. And it's like, I've seen this. Even recently, it's like people are like, I love you, Adam, I love you. And you're like, I'm looking at all your actions. I'm like, goodness, your actions are telling me you hate me. Why are you telling me these swelling words? Why are you preceding all of your hateful actions towards me with these great swelling words? And I think it's somewhere in maybe 2 Peter or Jude, talking about, fake people amongst them, false prophets amongst them, great swelling words, clouds they are, wells without water. And so it's like you have these just puffed up words and there's nothing behind them. And so here you have Pharaoh, who's a great representation, of course, for someone who has hardened themselves against Yahweh, can even say the right things, but not mean it at all. And of course, Moshe wasn't swayed, neither was Yahweh. And so why would Yahweh or his people be swayed by false words that have no substance to this day? Again, I love you to your face, but all my actions are going to hate you. And that's a very big parallel for a lot of those who are astray from Yahweh through the false paradigms of mainstream Christianity. It's like, I love you, I love Jesus, but not willing to follow anything he says. And so it's a very similar thing. It's just a bunch of fake flattering words. And so Pharaoh has this, and it's starting to get easier to detect in the flesh. And it's something that you've got to, that's where they say you got to test the spirits. That's where, I always wondered when it says that Messiah would not even judge after the hearing of his ears. Right, it says, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Yahweh, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes. So we know that, but neither reproving after the hearing of his ears. And you're thinking to yourself, well, we're going to be judged by every word we say, and by our words we're justified, by our words we're condemned. Words can obviously still be guileful, and there can still be deceit. And so even the true discerner has to be able to see not just past the eyes, what the eye sees, but even past what the ear hears. You have to test the words that are being spoken with measure, and you have to measure action that accompanies the words. So again, with the faith, it's like, oh, I love you, but I don't want to do anything you say. In the same way, fake people, well, they'll usually have some of the best, like, I love yous. It's and so just sometimes it's a almost an indicator, in my opinion, because that's why YAHUSHA says, let your yes be yes, no be no. Why do you have to precede all of your actions to let me know that you love me, when your actions should just let me know you love me? And it's just like, in a parallel way, a good leader doesn't have to say they're a leader, doesn't have to assert that, doesn't have to make sure everyone knows that, because they'll just know it, because he'll just act like it, he'll just do it. Let's go to Revelation 16. So boils. Revelation 16:2. So the first angel went and poured out his bowl on the earth, not a boil, bowl on the earth, and a harmful and painful sore or boil afflicted the people who had the mark of the beast and who worshipped his image. Just in case you're new, the understanding I have, the quick understanding I have with the mark of the beast versus the mark of Yah, it's just that people on earth, I think, carry one of two marks. Messiah says, broad is the way to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Narrow is the gate, and few which go in. So it's like Yah's mark, very few people have, very few people carry. Consider that someone who's an atheist or a Buddhist or Taoist or whatever, they're all carrying the mark of the beast. They are following Satan in his rebellion against Yahweh, and this rebellion carries many faces, many forms, many religions, many gods, and what's very crafty by our enemy is to even take the way and to change it just enough that it's hateful towards Elohim, with the pagan practices, with the changing of the day of authority, which is the Shabbat, changing it to Sunday. So people that literally don't listen, I highlighted it here, that literally the people that listened to the word of Yahweh were protected, and the people that weren't didn't. And so in a similar way, you see that in the end times, you see like three different groups. This is Enoch 50. In those days a change shall take place for the holy and the elect, and the light of day shall abide upon them, and glory and honor shall turn to the holy. On the day of affliction, on which evil shall have been treasured up against the sinners. This is that great tribulation everyone's scared and talking about. And the righteous, the reason the righteous shouldn't be scared of it, because the righteous shall be victorious in the name of Yahweh Sabaoth. And he will, so the overcomers, right? And he will cause the others, this is group 2, to witness this, that they may repent and forego the works of their hands, because they are still walking in unrighteousness. They shall have no honor through the name of Yahweh Sabaoth, yet through his name they shall be saved. So there's going to be a remnant that are saved. You see this in Revelation 14. You see this group that's victorious on top. And Revelation 7 tells you that a great multitude accompanies these 144,000. But during this time, there's this other group here that weren't part of that, it says here, right here, I heard a voice from heaven saying to me, blessed are the dead which die in the Master from this time forward. So this is a time when New Jerusalem or Jerusalem, wherever you think YAHUSHA reigns from for 1,000 years, Mount Zion, standing on top of Mount Zion, right, with his 144,000, the redeemed. So at that point, there are people that are blessed that die from that point forward. So I think it's these people that they have to repent. They have to forego the works of their hands. They may have to even die at the hands of the beast. They shall have no honor, yet through his name they shall be saved, and Yahweh will have compassion on them, for his compassion is great. And he is righteous also in his judgment, and in the presence of his glory unrighteousness also shall not maintain itself. At his judgment the unrepentant shall perish before him, and from henceforth I will have no mercy on them, says Yahweh. So 3 groups. Literally the ones that were ready and were glorified. Group 2 that were not ready but have to that will be saved but will not have rewards. And then group 3 that is unrepentant will just die. Gone. Revelation 16:11, and they blasphemed the Elohim of heaven because they're paying their sores, and they did not repent of their sins. So it's like they doubled and tripled down. They hardened their hearts. It's like even though they're seeing all this stuff, they may see the second Exodus. They may see what people call the rapture. They may see all kinds of things, and maybe they'll blow it off because of teachings like maybe Project Bluebeam was actually put out there to give excuses for when Yahweh does actually do some miracles and some mighty acts. They're like, that was just Project Bluebeam. Oh, all right. Thinking about Pharaoh and hardened hearts. What about brothers and sisters towards each other? Hebrews 12:14. Follow peace with only the people in your own tribe or fellowship. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no one shall see Yahweh. So what happens if someone is a believer Messiah, a lawkeeper, keeping the Sabbath, feast days diligently, but is just rude to his brothers and won't follow peace with them? It says you won't see Yahweh. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of Elohim, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. That sounds like that wormwood stuff, where brother against brother. Then later we talked about, and there's the hail. Right, let me just get over to the KJ. All right, Revelation 8. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. And now this isn't always just bad. Obviously, what's happening here in Exodus and in the plagues, but this is also happening later in Exodus in the giving of the Torah. So like a lot of we see in prophecy, like when this extreme bad stuff comes, this extreme evil, good comes at the same time. It's like when Satan falls down from heaven or is thrown down, that great war, Satan's thrown down, that great ultimate Pharaoh, king of Tyre, is thrown down. Then it says, now has come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Elohim and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down. In Revelation 12. So it's like bad and good. It's like double cup portion of destruction, double anointing on his people. And the 7 angels that had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees were burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. Revelation 16:19, and the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before Elohim to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed Elohim because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. Revelation 14:6-13, I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, and kindred, and tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, fear Elohim, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven, and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, and the smoke of their torment ascends up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Elohim and the faith of YAHUSHA. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Right, blessed are the dead which die in the Master from henceforth. Yea, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. So let me not take anything away, because it does say that those who die, give up their lives, will rule and reign with Christ for 1,000 years. Yeah, I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of YAHUSHA and for the word of Elohim, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark on their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Praise Yahuwah. So I just want to end with Isaiah 26, and then we'll finish up this Torah portion. It says, In that day shall the song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. Salvation will Elohim appoint for walls and bulwarks. Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keeps the truth may enter in. Courtney, I don't know if you still watch these, but if you are, just a reminder, we got to make a song, Fishers of Men, with these lyrics. Praise Yah. You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. Trust ye in Yahweh forever, for in Yahweh is everlasting strength. For he brings down them that dwell on high, the lofty city. He lays it low. He lays it low even to the ground. He brings it even to the dust. The foot shall tread it down, even the feet of the poor, and the steps of the needy. The way of the just is uprightness. You, most upright, do weigh the path of the just. Yea, in the way of your judgments, O Yahweh, we have waited for you. The desire of our soul is to your name and to the remembrance of you. This is really the Zakar. This is like that's really the understanding of his name. The remembrance is how we do his Sabbaths every week, his new moons every month, which is tonight. We have a Shabbat and new moon double meeting. Hallelujah. We remember his feast days every year. Our children grow up doing that instead of Christmas tree and Easter. And with my soul have I desired you in the night. Yea, with my spirit within me I will seek you early. For when your judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. Let favor be showed to the wicked, yet he will not learn righteousness. That's like Pharaoh, right? It's like every time he forgave, and I was just kidding. You cannot go, In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of Yahweh. Yahweh, when your hand is lifted up, they will not see, but they shall see, and be ashamed for their envy at the people. Yea, the fire of your enemy shall devour them. Yahweh, you will ordain peace for us, for you also have wrought all our works in us. O Yahweh our Elohim, other masters besides you have had dominion over us, but by you only will we make mention, Zakar, of your name, remembrance. They are dead, they shall not live. I'm sorry, I should look this up. I don't know if that's a Zakar. I would just imagine that is. They are dead, they shall not live. They are deceased, they shall not rise. Therefore have you visited and destroyed them, and made all their memory to perish. You have increased the nation, O Yahweh. You have increased the nation. You are glorified. You have removed it far unto the ends of the earth. Yahweh, in trouble have they visited you. They poured out a prayer when your chastening was upon them. Like as a woman with child that draws near the time of her delivery is in pain, and cries out in her pangs, so have we been in your sight, O Yahweh. We have been with child, we have been in pain. We have, as it were, brought forth wind. We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the earth fallen. And brothers and sisters, I want to exhort you for just a second, if we can pause here. Sometimes it feels like we're making no progress. We can look at it's like how many people are listening to ungodly music, and how much Hollywood and TV shows are multiplying, and how much wickedness is multiplying, and it's like, sometimes we can feel like we're not making any progress. It's like we're trying to bail out the ocean with a bucket. It's like we're trying to dig a hole on the beach, right? or dig a hole in the sand to which there's no end to it. It just never ends, and it just keeps, the water keeps coming and filling it, and there's no. It's like we could try to build up. It's like try to build up a castle on the sand there, and it's like the water keeps breaking it down. I know we build on YAHUSHA, and the waves don't come crashing down, but it seems like, sometimes it's like we're not making any progress, but we are. I just want to make mention to you, we are. This movement of Yahweh is making progress. Your dead men shall live together with my dead body shall they arise. Awaken, seeing you that dwell in the dust, for your dew is as the dew of herbs. That's what we was reading there in Psalm 110, right? You have the dew of the morning. And the earth shall cast out the dead. Come, my people, enter you into your chambers and shut your door about you. Hide yourself, as it were, a little moment until the indignation be overpast. For behold, Yahweh comes out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. So with that, brothers and sisters, is the end of our Torah portion, and a couple announcements, and we'll pray. Actually, we'll pray first, and then we'll do announcements. Father Yahweh, we bless you in Yahusha's name. Thank you for allowing us to study together and keeping this platform alive. And Father, I just pray that wherever everyone's at, I know we're scattered, but hopefully we can have less scattering where we're at. Maybe we can come together in all the different four corners, and then one day you can just bring us all together. Until then, we're thankful for this ability to gather online, and I just pray for all those out there that don't have fellowship, that you'd open a door for fellowship, Yahweh, and let it be righteous fellowship, and let them not just settle for anything. Father, I pray in Yahusha's name you help us to be doers, not just hearers, but doers also of your word, and help wake up the mighty ones to declare your glory through song, through prophecy, through your word, and that the nourishment and the refreshing may come upon your people, O Yahweh, and that your double portion on your people may come, and that you just be with us. And we long to be with you forever. It's in your Son Yahushua's name we pray. Amen. Hey, so I hate doing this. I've actually avoided doing this for the majority of the ministry, which is to involve asking of money. It's obviously completely abused in the churches, and it's just become just a common joke at this time. You come, you pay your tithe, and you're saved. I mentioned earlier we're in community, and our community has grown with lots of needs. Our community employs lots of people. I believe that a worker is worthy of his wages, and I need your help in helping to pay some of the workers here. We've basically, Yahweh has given us an amazing property that was completely neglected and overgrown, and even next door used to be a salvage yard. There was like probably 400 plus cars. It literally looked like the end of the world back there with the trash and all the stuff. And so we've had such amazing men and women working here and getting this place ready to do festivals. We did our first feast, Passover 25 here. We did Hebrew Fest 25 here, and such a blessing. We definitely exceeded the limits of the septic system, so we have some great needs in rebuilding and increasing the septic, adding more septics, increasing leach lines. And we just have a lot of needs for help to continue to grow here. Actually, to even to facilitate what we're already trying to do here, I need help. And a lot of me and my family's needs have been more than well taken care of, and I'm very thankful to you all there that help us. I'm not asking for us. I'm asking to help me to pay these workers their wages. We just have continued work to do, and so if anyone feels led out there to feel more, I hate even asking this much, because I think it's been so overdone and so abused that I've wanted to avoid this for a long time. But I'm not asking for myself or my house or my family. I'm asking, well, I say my house. This house is this community is our house. It's Yah's house, and I'm just asking to help with me with paying some of these workers' wages. Which is probably the biggest expense here, and I just need your help. And we got a lot of work to do still. We got Sukkot coming up, and just where things are at, we don't have the capability of. We even had porta potties here, but just people using water and hoses and showers and other things. We overloaded the system, and I just need help. And I'm sorry, I've already gone long enough, but I need your help. If you feel led, you can contact us. And if not, just pray for us, because if you don't have the means, may the Yahweh Most High can send someone else. And I know there's lots of other needs out there, and I'm not trying to be selfish or greedy, but we need your help here in this community. So at least consider to pray for us, because it does seem like the enemy has done everything in his power to try to subdue us here and to try to make this community not happen and to squash it. And but we just continue to keep going. And so thank you for your prayers. Would love this is a invite for those of you that are walking in the way. And if you're traveling through Southwest Missouri, come through on a Shabbat or a new moon or a feast day. I'm telling you, being with the brethren and doing this walk together you need it. It's like nourishment for the soul. It's like how Yahweh refills your cup. He's like, I'll refill your cup. But this is how you have to do it. It's like we recharge each other through the Spirit. It's like your spirit helps recharge mine and mine helps yours, and it's like it synergizes. And it's a real beautiful thing. So I encourage you to come visit. All right, I think that's enough. What other announcements? Yeah, Sukkot is coming up. We got the feast days are coming up. End of September for the Feast of Trumpets. Early October for Atonement, and then early-ish mid-October for Feast of Sukkot, which I do invite you to come and do Sukkot with us. Yeah, praise Yah. So I think that's it. Oh, we do have a new song, New Fishers of Men song. I'd like to share that with you. I think we'll probably do, it's already over 2 hours. We'll do 2 songs, and so we'll do a what we're going to do here.
When the cords of death surround me and the torrents of destruction are overwhelming me in the darkness, when the snares of death are confronting me, oh, in my distress, in my weakness, I call, oh, in my distress, in my weakness, I call upon your name, I call upon your name, oh, Yahuwah. Rock in my deliverance, my strength and my mighty fortress, I love you, oh, Yahuwah. In my desperation, I call upon your name, I rock in my deliverance, my strength and my mighty fortress, I love you, oh, Yahuwah. In my desperation, I call upon your name, and from my enemies I am saved. In the day of my calamity, when I'm set before the face of my enemies, I will sing, I will shout, I will lift my voice and cry aloud. Yahuwah is my shield and the horn of my salvation. Yahuwah is my shield and the horn of my salvation. Rock in my deliverance, strength in my mighty fortress, I love you, oh, Yahuwah. In my desperation, I call upon your name, my rock in my deliverance, my strength in my mighty fortress, I love you, oh, Yahuwah. In my desperation, I call upon your name, and from my enemies I am saved. I am saved. Yahuwah thundered in the heavens, the Most Most High uttered his voice when I cried to Elohim for help. He heard my voice. Then the earth was shaking and the mountains were trembling before the great and powerful presence of my Elohim.